In a world where everyone seems to be running a race, chasing dreams, and flashing their achievements on every screen, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparison. But what if I told you that the path to happiness and true success begins the moment you stop comparing yourself to others? This is the story of Vedant, a young man whose life changed the day he stopped looking outward and started looking within. Vedant lived in a small town surrounded by people who knew each other well. From a very young age, he was taught to work hard, stay honest, and live with integrity. But life wasn't simple. Especially when it felt like everyone around him was achieving more, earning more, and living better lives. Vedant wasn't poor. But he wasn't rich either. He had dreams, ambitions, and the hunger to succeed. Yet, every time he looked around, it seemed someone else was already ahead of him. He saw his schoolmates traveling the world, friends buying cars, peers becoming influencers. And Vedant? He was still trying to figure things out. What started as innocent observation slowly turned into self-doubt. Vedant began to question his worth. Why am I not as successful? Why can't I afford the things they have? Am I even good enough? The more he compared, the more he lost his sense of self. He stopped celebrating his small wins. He stopped appreciating the journey. Vedant. I felt like I was running a marathon with no finish line, constantly looking sideways to see how fast others were running. One evening, after a long, frustrating day at work, Vedant sat on his balcony, tired, mentally exhausted. A notification popped up, another success post from an old friend. This time, it broke him. He threw his phone aside and whispered, Vedant. Maybe I'm just not meant for greatness. But what Vedant didn't know was that this breakdown would become his breakthrough. The next morning, Vedant went to a nearby park, hoping some fresh air would calm his thoughts. There, he met an old man, Mr. Iyer, a retired teacher known in the town for his wisdom. Seeing Vedant's troubled face, Mr. Iyer sat beside him. Mr. Iyer. You look like a man who's carrying more than he should. Vedant hesitated but then poured his heart out. The jealousy. The comparisons. The constant feeling of being behind in life. Mr. Iyer smiled gently and said something Vedant would never forget. Mr. Iyer. You're comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. Tell me, have you ever seen a tree compare its growth to another tree? Vedant was puzzled. Mr. Iyer continued. Some trees grow tall and fast. Others grow slowly but bear the sweetest fruits. Each has its own season. You, my boy, are still in yours. That moment was a turning point. Vedant realized he had been measuring his life with the wrong scale. He wasn't failing. He was just growing differently. He decided to take a break from social media. He started journaling his small wins, waking up early, learning a new skill, staying consistent. And most importantly, he stopped looking sideways and began focusing forward. Weeks turned into months. Vedant launched his own small business, nothing flashy, but honest work he believed in. He worked hard, made mistakes, learned lessons. And slowly, the rewards came. Not in likes or followers, but in peace of mind, self-respect, and genuine growth. He wasn't the richest, but he was no longer the poorest in spirit. He was rich in purpose. One day, Vedant wrote a letter. Not to anyone else, but to his younger self. Vedant. Dear younger me. Stop chasing shadows. You are not them, and they are not you. Your journey is sacred. Run at your pace. Climb your own mountain. And remember, the only person you need to be better than is the person you were yesterday. Vedant became a quiet inspiration to many. Not because he shouted his achievements, but because he lived with purpose, peace, and authenticity. Years later, a young man sat next to Vedant in the same park, troubled by the same thoughts. Vedant smiled and said, You look like someone who's comparing his path to someone else's. Let me tell you a story. Don't compare your life to others. You have no idea what their journey is all about. Comparison is the thief of joy. Your only competition is who you were yesterday. Believe in your path. Trust your timing. And remember, the sun and the moon both shine, just at different times. Don't compare yourself, you are enough.